Hey everyone, Joey here, and today we're going to talk all about the OneXFly Apex, which is this beast of a handheld right here. It's a Strix Halo device, and I want to talk about it in comparison to the GPD Win 5, which is also a Strix Halo device, and I've had this for a few weeks, and I've just gotten this, and I need to do a video on this because we have to talk about the OneXFly Apex. At least I have to talk about it so that I can use it properly and I can get rid of this and grab the drive that's in this and put it in this and then live my life because... Okay, let's start this. I have no script for today's video. We are going to go off the rails completely in today's video. I don't even know what's going to happen. I don't even know where we're going, but we're going to go there. I bought both devices, so you should know, and I guess this is going to weed out some people right in the beginning, you should know the price of both of these devices. They're both handhelds, but they are Strix Halo devices and they're expensive. The GPD Win 5 was about $1,600 US. The OneXFly Apex was also about $1,600 US. Now, this has gone up in price apparently to about $2,000 US at this point. So it has gone up a little bit because of RAM and storage and all of that. So you should know this is not a normal person's device. This is very much enthusiast level devices here for the people that want the best of the best when it comes to handheld processors and all of that. And you're going to get it because these processors run in line with what an NVIDIA 4060 does. It's the Strix Halo Max Plus 395 processor in this, and I have the Max 385 in this. All in all, you are getting performance that is better than most people's computers when you look at Steam hardware surveys. There is better performance in these devices than those. But anyways, we have to talk about both these devices and my comparison. I did a review video on the Win 5 a few weeks back, and in that video I said I was waiting for the OneXFly Apex to arrive to make my final decision on what device would be for me. I use an Xbox Ally X the most, got the Win 5 in, I was using it for a bit, didn't really like it, didn't really love it, we'll talk about that. And so I went back to the Xbox Ally X, then the Apex arrived, and I don't think I'm going back to anything anymore. I think the Apex is the winner at this point. But let's talk about specs and everything first, and then we'll get into all the normal stuff. So I already mentioned this has the Max Plus 395 processor, at least my version here. They used to sell the 385. I don't think you can buy it anymore. The website wasn't showing it in stock, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But the 395 version is what I have here, and it is just an absolute beast of a processor. For any game that you want to play, you could play it upscaled. I keep saying upscaled, that's retro. You could play it with a 1200p resolution, which is what this device has, and medium, high settings, and high frame rates, and whatever you want. There is no game, really, that you can't play on these things. Like, it's just insane, the amount of power that you have on these devices compared to an Xbox Ally X. Like, this just murders it, and double the frames, everything. Like, it's insane. It's crazy. So you're starting off there, but then we get to RAM, and mine has actually 48 gigabytes of RAM on this. My Win 5, I think, has 32. I have the 385, but it doesn't matter. The Apex has 48 gigabytes of RAM, which means you can do 16 gigabytes of VRAM and then 32 gigabytes of internal RAM for the actual PC and all that fun stuff. Now, what's gorgeous is the screen. You have a 8-inch, 16 by 10, 1920 by 1200, 120 hertz VRR screen. For anybody familiar with the MSI Claws, this is the same screen that's in those as far as I know. So you know what to expect here, and that's an absolutely gorgeous screen. I will say, as somebody who has been pro 7-inch screens for pretty much ever, I go back and forth still. I love the 8-inch screen on here. I think it's really nice. And I think it's because it fits the device. Like, the device itself is all really good. So when I look at the screen, I'm like, yes, this all feels good and it feels light, which we'll talk about in a bit. And so it all fits. But I don't think I would take an 8-inch screen every single time. Like, I love the Xbox Ally X, and that's a 7-inch screen. So I don't really have a problem with either screen, but I can admit that this screen is definitely better. Now, there's a lot of things that I love about the OneXFly Apex, but one of my favorite things is the sticks. And this is very hard to explain over video, but the sticks are soft. They have the softest caps that I have ever felt in my life. I don't know what is going on here. It feels like I'm touching a pillow. That is how great it is. And so every time I'm using these sticks, I am just in love. I'm so happy. Obviously, these are full-size sticks. They have great range of motion. They have all of that. but the softness of the sticks just gets me. And I don't know, like, I just love it. I don't know what it is about this, but it's just great. And it's not even just the sticks. The entire console or the entire handheld is soft. They have like this soft plastic that they're using, and it's like a soft but slightly rubbery type of plastic, but not rubbery in that it's stopping your fingers. Like, you can slide them around. It all just feels both premium and not premium in the same way, but the not premium way is like a nice way to hold it. The best way that I can explain it is when I hold the GPD Win 5, the entire thing makes it feel like it's made out of marble. It makes it feel like it's super premium in a way that, like, I don't want. Like, I don't want how this feels. It is so rough, or not rough, but like, it is so just strong plastic. It is very hard to describe. And especially the size of the device, they have like these metal or aluminum pieces here that just dig into your hands. Whereas on the Apex, the entire thing is just comfort heaven. I love the comfort of this device. It is so extremely comfortable. And I guess I should mention that this is me using it without the attached battery, which we'll talk about in a second. But without the battery, the entire thing feels light. It's ergonomic. It feels comfortable. I would put this up there with probably one of the most comfortable devices that I've ever used. That is high praise coming from me. So when I compare that to the Win 5, which I had so much trouble just trying to get comfortable with, because of how hard the plastic is, because of how uncomfortable it is, the Apex is a clear winner when it comes to that. Now, I guess just to round off some of these controls, the D-pad and buttons are micro switch buttons, but the buttons actually have quite a bit of travel to them. So they're micro switch, but with far travel, and they feel nice. I'm actually a big fan of them. The D-pad as well, I haven't had much issues with it, but I haven't played many D-pad strong games or D-pad only games. I have just been playing a lot of games that use the D-pad as menu things and all of that. And so I haven't had any issues. Gotta be honest, the controls are actually very nice. The triggers, the shoulders, all of that, even the triggers on the back have the trigger lock, so you can change them to actual, micro switch triggers if you want, or you can go back to analog. You have those options too. So there is a lot here, but the entire thing just feels perfect. Like, I don't have any problems with any of the controls. It feels great. Now, as far as the other ports and things go, both the Win 5 and the Apex have USB-A ports. The Apex has 2 USB-C ports, and can't remember if the Win 5 also has 2 USB-C ports. Pretty much everything else is the same. They both use DC barrel plugs for charging if you're going to use it that way, or USB-C charging. The difference is, from what I understand, the Apex can use pretty much any 20 volt 5 amp USB-C to charge, and that's been working fine for me. But the Win 5 has to use a 20 volt 7 amp, I believe, for USB-C charging. So there's some issues and changes there. I will say I did try using the USB-C charger on the Apex, and I had limited success with it. I wasn't able to get it was crashing often when I was going over 40 watts, even on a 160 watt charger. So I've swapped over to using the DC barrel charging, and that's been working out just fine. I can go up to 80 watts easily and all of that. And I guess that brings me to my next part difference here. One of the things from my Win 5 review that I complained about was the heat as well as the fan noise. The Win 5, I couldn't go over 30 to 35 watts without being annoyed by both the heat and the fan noise. Number one, you feel the heat in the grips and you feel the heat in your hands. And number two, the fan just gets extremely loud. Again, all of this is without the battery. I don't use the battery at all. We'll talk about that again. On the Apex, I have been able to do 45, 50 watts easily and not feel any heat. And also, it feels like the noise is about the same as what the Win 5 was doing at 30 to 35 watts. I'm not going to say it is quiet. The OneXFly Apex and the Win 5 both can get loud, and the Apex can get loud. The main difference is when I'm playing at 40, 45, 50 watts, I don't feel any heat in my hands. They are comfortable. There's no heat in the grips. I can feel the heat at the back if I push all the way back, but never in the grips of where I'm holding. Whereas the Win 5, that heat was everywhere, and that bothered me a lot. It's a consistent problem with GPD's products to have heat be an issue. I've had every single GPD product, and I've had every product have heat issues. Like the Win Mini, I couldn't go over 15 watts without having heat issues. The Win 5 is the same thing. And so from a heat and fan noise perspective, the Apex completely kills the Win 5 here, and it's not even close in my opinion. Now, one of my major concerns when it comes to a bigger device like this is the weight. And I'm so happy to mention that the Apex without a battery attached to it, so when you're plugged in, it's great. It feels awesome. It's not super heavy. Feels like I'm holding an Xbox Ally X in that way, just maybe a little bit spread out. And it feels nice. It doesn't feel like it's heavy or anything like that. It negates one of the biggest negatives when it comes to bigger devices, which is usually the weight and having to feel all of that. But when you don't have the battery attached, it's just, again, ergonomic dream. That's the best way I can explain it. And so I guess I should talk about the battery here in this device. Both of these devices are able to use external batteries that attaches to the back of them. Otherwise, you can only use it plugged in. That's really the trade-off here. So you're going to use it either plugged in or use it with the battery. And I think both of them have abilities to connect some sort of battery connector. You can put the battery in your pocket and use a cable to connect it. Some nonsense like that. My only way that I use these devices is plugged in without a battery. I find that with the battery, both of them extremely uncomfortable. Not anything I like to do. They're way too heavy. It's way too awful. It's awful. I don't like it at all. It's not my thing. So when I look at both these devices, it is using them without a battery attached and just plugged in, and that's it. On that front, they're both the same. They both feel the same that way, except the Apex is a lot more comfortable and, again, goes back to the heat and fan noise and all that fun stuff. Now, there are a few things and more positives to the Apex that I find compared to the Win 5. Number one is their software. OneX has one of my favorite Windows software options that no other company seems to be doing. Like, it feels like they are doing very good with their OneX console little slide out menu and the options that you have there. Not only do you have the options to change the TDP, which obviously any device has, you can customize the fan modes as well as the fan curves, and it's very easy. You have vibration there, but also they put everything that you want right there. So you have the display, and you can change the display modes. You have the RGB effect, and it's right there. You can turn on the performance overlay, and it gives you links right to download hardware info, as well as the Riva Tuner or Riva Tuner. So you get those installed, and then it's instantly in game. You have a full actual OSD and everything. You can turn off the turbo for CPU, which you want to do always. There's gyro there. You can do some other things. One of my favorite things as somebody who uses cheats quite a bit is Game Trainer. It'll automatically download the game trainers for you and have an auto detection of the game that you're playing to load up the cheats. My favorite feature that I showed off on my F1 Pro a long time ago. It's just awesome that they have it here. Then they have more things like Handy Kit, which lets you install the Xbox full screen experience right from here. So you can do all of that from here if you want to. I actually went a different route, but then I watched a video that showed them doing this, which is pretty cool. You can do all of the brightness and all of that, as well as pop up a keyboard. There's a dedicated keyboard button on the actual device to pop up the keyboard, and so much more. Like, it is one of my favorite, I think, softwares that are on these x86 devices is OneX console. Now, I will say one negative that I do have on the Apex at the moment is the sound. They really should have done front-firing speakers. For a device that costs this much, it really should have been front-firing. And they're using a Harman sound system, so it should be good sound. However, I don't find it to be very good. They're down-firing, which is fine in some cases, but it doesn't sound great. The other problem is, because of the fan noise, and the fan does get loud, when it's down-firing speakers, you don't have the ability to overwrite the fan noise. When the speakers are facing towards you, it helps to not hear the fan noise as much. When they're facing downwards, you have to raise the volume even more to be able to hear the game over the fan. But the other problem is when you cup your hands on the bottom, you can improve the sound completely. Meaning that if they would have done front-firing speakers, you would have improved the sound by tenfold. So again, this is probably my only negative about this device so far is the speakers. They're not very good. And especially when we get to Bazite, whenever that starts working, they're going to be even worse because Linux doesn't handle audio as well as Windows does. So yeah, it's a small issue or maybe a bigger issue depending on who you are, but it's my biggest negative. And so, yeah, when we go back to the performance conversation, I mean, the biggest part about these devices is the performance of them. you have every option available to you in the world. I changed both of my devices to lower the cores that they're using because Strix Halo or the Max Plus 395 is using 16 cores by default. You don't actually need to do that. There was a really good video by Hubwood that shows that you don't really need all 16 cores. And in fact, if you lower that down to 4 or 6 cores, that you actually get better performance. So what I did was lower it down to 6 cores on myself personally using the BIOS. And I don't know if that's made a difference or not, but that's what I've been doing. Performance though, I mean, the world is your oyster here. I only installed a few different games because I only have a 1 terabyte drive in it right now. It's part of the reason why I need to make this video so that I can get rid of this Win 5, get my 4 terabyte back out of it and use it in the Apex. But I mean, using my Win 5, I already know what the performance was going to be. And the answer is you can play whatever you want. The main difference here is it's a 1200p screen. So you have just so much more that you can do, but also it is using up more power because of the screen, right? The GPD Win 5 is a 1080p screen, so you can get a lot more frame rates and all of that. If I were to change the OneXFly to use a 1080p screen, then, or OneXFly Apex to use a 1080p screen, then it would do a little bit better than the Win 5 does. But by using a 1200p screen, you're going to get a little bit less performance, so you just have to bump up the wattage a little bit more. But I have been personally staying in about 45, 50 watts in that range, just because of fan noise, because of how I like to hear everything, and I want to be able to play the game without hearing the fan, all of that fun stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. And I don't have any complaints about any games and how they perform on here because it's like double what a Z2 Extreme, Xbox Ally X, Lenovo Legion Go 2, MSI Claw, all of those devices can do. It's insanity, but of course you're paying that price for it. So again, this was an unscripted video. I didn't know what to say, what to do. I just wanted to sit down and talk about the Apex. I love this thing. Honestly, I think people who have been watching my channel for a long time know that I don't love a lot of handhelds like Odin 2 Portal, AYN Thor, other devices in the past, things like that. I love the Xbox Ally X. I've loved the previous ROG Allies and all of that fun stuff. But performance has been one of the things that has been lacking from those handhelds, of course. As somebody who does not have a budget for these types of things, when a device like this comes that I had zero idea about it. Look, I bought this thing sight unseen. I didn't know specs or anything. I knew it was a Strix Halo. I didn't look up anything about it. I was talking on the Discord. Somebody was like, hey, there's this device. And then I bought both of them because I had to. I didn't even know it's got a kickstand on the battery. Like that's how I'm holding this up right now. The battery has a kickstand. I'm never going to use this because it's a battery, but I didn't even know any of that. So somebody who knew nothing and then this arrives and I'm in love with it. Like that's kind of something I had to make a video on right away. And it's going to be, again, a weird video. I'm going to be all over the place. I don't really care. But yeah, I had to talk about the OneXFly Apex. So if you're somebody on the fence about both of these devices, I don't know how to say this and be nice to GPD because I can't. But I can't think of a single reason I would buy the Win 5 again. Like the Apex is better in every single way, unless you like the size difference, unless you really need a smaller device like this, but it comes with so many compromises. The Win 5 is just, it's fine, but it wasn't the device for me at all. And I think I'm completely off GPD products at this point. This has been, I don't even know how many GPD products I've been where I've been lukewarm on them. It's always the same thing with them. It is always the same thing. It's the heat and the fan noise. And then this one, at least, it's the comfort of the device. The Win Mini I liked decently. Win 4 I found uncomfortable. Win 5 is better than the Win 4, but still uncomfortable. And the hard plastic and everything is a complete opposite than the Apex, which is so very comfortable. So there's no way I could recommend the Win 5 anymore. I think it's a little bit cheaper, but even still, if you want a Strix Halo device, you're going to have to get the Apex. This is all my opinion. People are going to get mad at me for it. I don't really care. The Apex is a much better device in my opinion, and there's no going back at this point. It's the one negative, obviously, I forgot to change the power options. The one negative, obviously, is that it's a handheld that stays with you at home for me, because I'm not going to use the battery. It's very uncomfortable with the battery. So you have to stay plugged in to a charger, and that's it. But how I play my games, 99% of the time, it is right next to my charger. So it's not a big issue for me. I thought it would have been when these devices came out. I made fun of them, if you remember, in my newscast. I actually made fun of both devices, saying that they're useless devices because you can't make a handheld without a battery. I'm eating my words, obviously. But so it's not going to be for everybody. I think for me, the Apex and the Thor are a fantastic combination, but you can get this experience streaming, right? Like you don't need, if you are somebody who has a decent computer that's better than a NVIDIA 4060, or you just want to get a graphics card, you can get a better experience streaming to any device that you have. It doesn't matter. So you don't need to go spend $2,000 on a device like this. But if you're somebody who's an enthusiast and you want the best of the best, then maybe this might be the option for you. I don't know. I don't know where these fit in at the end of the day. These are very weird devices in that way, where it's like, they're not for everybody. They're for a very limited subset of people. But for that subset of people, these are awesome devices. So yeah, I mean, I have a strong computer. I stream a lot. This likely should not even be for me, but it is for me. It's very weird. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. I at this point, I need to go and take the drive out of this and put it in this and go play with this more, because I'm enamored with it. It's a fantastic device. I got nothing bad to say here. Like that's it. Maybe in a month or so, I might have something bad to say, but it is very rare for a device to come and just sweep me off my feet like this. So I want to go play with it now. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about handhelds. Support me through YouTube membership if you like my stuff. And hope you all have a good one.